Portal, and by extension its sequel, Portal 2, are some of the best puzzle games ever made. Thanks to their ingenious mechanics, thoughtful storytelling, and amazing level design, they often top everyone's list for puzzle games. Because of this, the community support for these games has been incredible over the years. There are entire story expansions for the game, thousands of community levels, and even about a year ago, I played through Portal with RTX, a semi-official remaster for the original game. But one of the most sought-after additions to this game has been VR support. And as of last week, Portal 2 now has a VR mod. So of course, I had to ask the question, is this the best way to play Portal?
Oh my god, I think I'm gonna throw up.
No, it's not. Look, I want to set things straight right away. This mod is not bad, quite the contrary actually. Despite this mod being in very early access, it works really well, better than a lot of other VR mods I've seen. But I guess that makes sense, seeing as it's built on the same platform that the other Source 1 VR mods are, such as the great Left 4 Dead VR mod and the universally praised Half-Life 2 VR mod. It's really easy to install, runs at a pretty stable FPS, which is a very welcome thing for VR mods, and it implements all the features that you'd expect from a VR first game, such as full 6 degrees of freedom, great locomotion, VR controller support, and even options for centering the view. And honestly, a lot of the issues that I do still have with the mod are either going to get implemented soon or probably can't easily get implemented, such as some view models being broken, the lack of a left hand.
This is so cool.
So yeah, if your only goal for Portal in VR is just to take a look around and see the beautiful, expansive environments, yeah, this mod's great for that. It offers everything you could ever want. Seeing the test chambers that I once memorized now in front of me was surreal, and the size of things. You don't appreciate the scale of environments or objects until you see them in VR. Seriously, I swear the cores are half the size of me. This mod is really good at making the flat screen experience of Portal into a full-fledged VR game. But because it's a full VR mod, it does allow you to do more than just look around, and that's where the problems start. I don't get motion sick very easily. I've played VR almost daily for the past 2 years, so I'm pretty used to what it's like. I can easily use continuous motion, play games where I'm flying, the whole lot. But god damn is this sickening. This is one of the few games where you really need a good set of VR legs. Honestly, if you at all get motion sick in VR, or in general for that matter, I highly recommend you don't play this, because even with my tolerance that I've built up, I still had to take frequent breaks while playing. And I think that's because, well, Portal was never designed for VR. The whole mod itself is great, and I don't think it's really causing any of the issues here. Rather, it's the game itself that's the root cause of my experience. Portal does a lot of trickery to make the game work as well as it does, and VR kinda messes all of that up.
Oh, I should have not eaten lunch before this.
For example, when a player is traveling towards a portal, the game ever so slightly adjusts the player's position to make sure that the player ends up going through the portal. Normally, this is a great thing because it subtly prevents the player from just slamming into the wall constantly while flying through the air. But in VR, this effect is very noticeable and it creates a ton of nausea. But then once you're traveling through the portal, the game will often rotate the player to make sure that they're oriented right after getting launched through it. Again, this mechanic is great when playing the game normally, but in VR, not so much.
God, this is so awful.
But it's not just the nausea that makes this experience less than ideal. Watch this. Did you see what I did there? Yeah, I just broke the entire puzzle. Normally, you're not able to shoot your portal there because your eyeline just doesn't match up with it. But in VR, I can just stand on my toes, lift my arm up, and place the portal there. The problem is this game is so tightly made that any tiny wrench thrown into it breaks everything, and VR is definitely not a small wrench. Despite how good this mod is, it's clear that the base game it was built upon was never designed for it. Levels that should be challenging aren't, and levels that are meant to be a great puzzle are confusing and sickening as hell. Collisions don't work all the time with the player, leading to instances where you get stuck on things you shouldn't, and during cutscenes where you're not supposed to be able to look around, you can, and it becomes very clear how broken all of this really is.
Wheatley, where?
Through her chamber, and she will probably kill us.
What the fuck?
A lot of things just don't feel right with the VR support, and it certainly isn't how this game is meant to be played. Which is kinda my point. Is this the best way to play Portal? No, absolutely not. But is it still a good way? Yeah. Despite it making me nauseous every 5 minutes, I still played through the entire game and loved it. Being able to actually be in the environment of Portal is something that I've only dreamed of, and now it's something that I can just do whenever I want. And sometimes I get on just to look through a portal because that's really cool. This is easily one of the best mods I've ever downloaded, purely because of how just great of an experience this really is. And still, despite the insane amount of times I've replayed Portal 2, in VR it felt new. Because it is new. Really, what I think this mod shows isn't that Portal in VR is good, rather it shows how amazing Portal in VR could be. A first-party made-for-VR adaptation of Portal would be insanely good, and this mod proves it. A lot of the quirks that I have could easily be solved if the game was actually made for VR in mind, preventing the cheeky puzzle skips, cutscenes breaking, and overall nausea. Especially too, since we've already gotten a taste of what Portal in VR could look like, thanks to Valve constantly teasing us with small demos in the Portal universe. But an actual fully-fledged Portal game would be incredible in every sense of the word. Look, if you can't play this mod because you get sick, I completely understand, but for those of you out there who can actually enjoy this, go do that, because it's free to download, easy to install, it runs great, and the upsides here completely overshadow any of the issues I had. And even if you do get a little bit sick, just being able to walk around and peer through some of the environments that make this game so special, that's completely worth it in my opinion. There were so many times I just felt myself smiling because of how giddy I was in this mod. Time and time again, I felt like I just had to stop and soak it all in. I still can't believe the incredible team behind this mod pulled it all off. And so with that, I think it's about time I take my leave, because I'm off to probably play more of this. This mod is something that I've waited for years, and it's just as good as I hoped it would be. Even with the
Oh my god.